What's going on? What's going on, y'all? You know, one of the things I love about the winter and the cold season is being able to make my delicious, savory dishes. So y'all stay with me on this ride as I throw together my famous stew, beef stew. Get ready. This one is gonna be a straight up winner. All right, guys. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go through all my ingredients. One of the things my grandmother, who made beef stew, made some of the best beef stew ever, always used to say is throw in everything but the kitchen sink. So we're almost doing that, Grandma. We're almost throwing in everything but the kitchen sink. So I'm gonna run quickly through my ingredients. Be sure to, if you miss them, you can catch all of these ingredients in the description box below. So I've got some flour. Of course, I got my piggies with my black pepper and my salt. I got 2 potatoes, onions, tomatoes, garlic, my spices. I've got some chili powder. I got some regular all-purpose seasoning, a little cayenne pepper, a little paprika, onion powder, and garlic. I got my veggies over here, which is just some carrots and celery. And like I said, I've got me 3 garlic cloves, if you can see them. Look at him, he's hidden over there. And then my frozen vegetables, of course. I got some mixed vegetables with your carrots and your corn and your green beans. Then I like a little more peas. So I got a little bowl of frozen peas. All of my vegetables here are frozen. I went in my refrigerator and there was just a little bag of corn left, frozen corn. So I just said, why not throw that in? A little tomato paste, got some beef broth, and of course I've got my stewed meat here. And it was a great cut. You see the little runs of fat in it. That's perfect because when we brown it and cook it off, it's just gonna add more flavor. So the first thing we wanna do is go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start my pot to heat. So I'm just gonna start my pot on a low heat. And I like to brown my meat using some vegetable oil. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of line my pot with some vegetable oil. Well, it's not coming out as much as I like, so I'm just gonna do it like this, y'all. Just being a little stubborn. We'll add more as we need. Then I'm taking all of my spices. I'm going right into a bowl with them. Where's my, I wanna make sure. I'm funny, y'all. I like to make my own spices. And so I'm always playing around with them and working with these spices. So we're just gonna dump all of those right in. Give it a quick whisk. And don't be afraid to taste. I'm gonna add a little salt to it. Just a little pepper. Now, a lot of people, they would season their flour, but I'm gonna season my meat and then go into my flour and brown. So, we got that. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to also add a little oil to my my meat. It just helps the seasoning, and then once I start to flour, it helps all of that just absorb and stick in. And so I'm going to move some of my vegetables for a bit because we're not really ready for those, but I wanted to put them all up so you guys could see them. We're just going to the first thing is just come with some seasoning. You want to really season it heavy because this really is the base of all your seasonings that's going to take place. And I'm going to reserve a little bit because I might add a little bit later. And now because I put the oil in it, I'm just going to turn them. This is a real tough part when you working by yourself. If Tamika was here, I could get my hands really, I'm gonna turn this all the way down because it's gotten hot. Okay, now I'm gonna take my other hand so that I'm not cross-contaminating anything. And I'm gonna season this. I want all this season to penetrate my meat and get really coated. Like so. Then, what we do is I'll set that to the side for a minute. We bring our flour up here. And we just drop, we'll probably cook these in batches. Drop these into the flour. I have done both where I didn't flour them. I just browned these without flouring them. But to me, the flour adds so much more to the roux that we're making. So we just want to coat these really good, just like so. This is it looks like it's a lot of ingredients, but when you get to going and dumping, the longest process is just letting it simmer and cook. And browning your meat, to me, really kind of speeds up the process, along with adding all the flavor that's gonna come with it. But the real kicker is when you, I'm gonna turn this all the way down because I don't want it to burn, but I do want them to sear. And we're just gonna shake these and we're gonna go right in. And I always like to shake the flour off. And we don't want to overcrowd them. We want to give them space. A little lower, not getting over there. And we're just browning them. We're gonna brown both sides evenly, but they're gonna cook longer in the stew, so you don't have to just fry them and overcook them. You just want to brown them. Okay. And then what I like to do, y'all, is I go ahead and put my other batch in the flour while my hands are already floured all up. And these will be ready for the round 2 of the browning. So we're gonna let these brown. I'm gonna flip them one time, bring them off on a reserve plate. But when I come back, we're gonna start cutting up all my veggies. All right, gang, as you can see, look, I flipped them once. I'm not burning them. I'm just getting them nice and brown. Just like so. Just like I said, they're gonna finish cooking later. In my pan, nothing is sticking. That's just how you want it. Just want them brown. Sometimes you have to move them to a hotter part of the pan. They got about 2 more minutes. While they're doing that, I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly chop up my garlic. That's the good thing about when you're cooking. You can always be doing other things while something else is going on. Like I told you guys in the beginning, I love this time of year, mainly for the dishes, the savory dishes that I can cook. You know, the chilies, the chicken noodle. I got a great chicken noodle soup that I might share with you guys in the real near future, but I had to share this beef stew. And I can't hardly wait till the wintertime so that I can make it, you know, and it's great as a leftover. So it just really is a good, hearty, savory dish. And it reminds me of when I was a kid at home and my mother used to make it and my grandmother. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull out these and we're just going to let them rest. Like so. You see, they're good and brown. I got a nice temperature, but they're not overcooked. Add a little more oil. Just a little bit. Like so. And we come back with our second batch. And there's no madness. I mean, if you like a lot more meat, you can add it. If you're not a red meat person, I would say you could do like some boneless chicken thighs. I can't see where, I've never done it because I'm a red meat guy. But, and this is a beef stew, but I guess, yeah, that's the great part about recipes. You can do almost anything you want. You could do a chicken stew, sure. If you notice, I'm shaking each one of them as I pull them off, shaking the excess flour off. I think that's it. There's one more over here. Okay. All right. So while those are browning, I'll continuously chop my vegetables. So I got my garlic over here. And then, you know, I'm just a celery guy. I'm gonna move my potatoes. We don't need them just yet. But you can use any vegetables you like. You know, I'm gonna use some celery and some onion as my base. And I would say this was about a stalk and a half. Like crunch of celery. And we'll go right in with the onion. We're just dicing this up. We're gonna saute these as soon as the meat finished browning. So I'm gonna finish chopping up my vegetables. I'm going to, I can go ahead and show you guys my tongs. You can tell, you see how it's looking, and one like that is looking pink. They're ready to be flipped. And you see how brown and golden they are? I didn't overcook them or over brown them. It's just almost like a sear. But the other thing you'll notice is that there's a nice little roux that's festering in the bottom of my pan. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where a lot of your flavor is gonna come from. So I'm gonna let these finish browning. I'm gonna finish up with the veggies. When I come back, we'll be ready to start sauteing our vegetables. All right, guys, as you can see, all my stewed meat looks great. Great browned, not fully done, but it's pretty close, which will speed up the process when we start putting everything else together. So we're gonna sit that to the side, allow our beef to really rest. Now, you see this nice base I got in here? This is nothing but excellent flavor. You can tell I kept my pot at a good temperature, nothing burned. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add some olive oil to my pan. And now you guys know where I'm going when I say we're building so much great flavor. This is a great flavor here. All right, we're gonna mix all this around. Okay, like that. Then we're gonna come in with our onions. I'm gonna turn it up just a bit. When you're sauteing vegetables, it really shouldn't take no more than about 2 or 3 minutes. All right, add my garlic as well, and my celery right in, like that. And we're just gonna work that around. Oh God, I wish y'all was here to smell this. It smells delicious. And as usual, I'm a salt and pepper guy, so you always want to season your sauteed vegetables. A little salt, a little pepper. It's really, with that flour, absorbed a lot of the oil. So I'm gonna add a little more oil to it so that they can really become tender. And I told y'all that I was reserving a little of the seasoning that I seasoned the meat with. So I'm just gonna come with a little of that, a little extra flavor to add. This is really not a complicated in terms of recipe. It's one of those dishes that, to me, it's a feel. How do y'all feel about it? You know, how big are my vegetables? You know, all of that. I'm just gonna give this a quick stir. And add as I go. So once you have that, now they're looking great. So what I want to do now is what I like to call toasting my veggies. So I add some tomato paste. Okay. And you want to work that around in all of your veggies. Just work it around. And that tomato paste will allow, shoot, it's a little hot here. I almost said something else, y'all. You know, my mouth can get a little potty after a while. Okay, so you want to work that around. And what it does is it kind of toasts. See, I got it all mixed in. I'm gonna take the back of my wooden spoon and kind of just, I want it even. And let that just kind of toast on a few minutes. And then while that's going on, and we're still a little bit of ways away from our potatoes. So let me just see here what we got. Yeah, you can hear it popping. So that means they're good and toasted. Now, I'm gonna come in with my beef broth. Okay, we're gonna mix that in. And that was about 2 cups. That's about half of what I need. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. Just add the whole doggone thing. And what we wanna do is stir this really good, because remember, you got that paste in there. And we wanna bring it to a boil. So I'm gonna put a lid on it and bring it to a boil, and then we'll start adding all the veggies. Once it comes to a boil, the first thing we're gonna do is add our meat back in. All right, guys, let's take a peek, see if we got us a little boil going on here. Oh, that's perfect. So here's what we're gonna do. We really want this meat to almost like shred when it's done. So we're gonna go right back in with it, okay? And since it was already warm, I didn't want to put it into the cold beef broth. So I just brought it to a boil, and we're gonna put the lid back on it. and let it boil. While it's doing that, we're gonna go ahead, and I love potatoes in mine, and I'm gonna cut them in kind of medium-sized chunks. You can cut them any size that you like. Sometimes, if you want to do a real shortcut, they have in the frozen section department at the stores, they have stewed vegetables in the frozen, and you can get those, but I just like fresh. And then I'm just gonna cut my carrots at an angle. No real magic, just nice little medium-sized cuts like that. Now, you see these, and I know y'all saying, Pat, where did you get those crazy looking tomatoes? Well, these came out of my garden in the summertime, and I had so many of them, and what I did was I froze them. And you know, you can freeze them and then pull them out this time of year for stews and things like that, you know? So they work great. Put the stem up. I in the summertime, and this summer we'll really spend some time out in my garden. I'll get y'all to see what's really going on, but I just love it. And I love the fact that you can take vegetables like this, and you have so many of them, put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them, you know. And now you're using them for stews and soups and things like that. So I was really glad when I went into my freezer, because before, and if you don't have a garden or whatever, and you don't have tomatoes, you can always use the canned tomatoes. But when I went in my freezer, I said, I knew I was gonna need y'all for something, and sure enough, they were in there, and I said they'll go right in. So now let's take a peek. Oh yes. Nice. Very nice. We got that going. I'm gonna add my potatoes and carrots. I'm not gonna add my tomatoes just yet, because I don't want them to just be so mushy that they're not even tomatoes anymore. So my mixed vegetables and my corn and my tomatoes, I'll add them a little later. I'm gonna let these cook for probably about, put it this way, maybe about an hour. But what we want is for our potatoes and carrots to be fork tender, and we want our meat to really start to tenderize. And then once that happens, we'll add in the rest. So it's really a process. I'm gonna add a little more salt because I added in all of those veggies, a little more pepper. And it's a feel thing, like I said, you know, if you're not a big pepper guy, you might say, oh, that's just a little too much. So we're just gonna let this simmer. It's gonna work its magic. It's gonna do its thing for maybe about an hour. We'll come back, add the veggies. Maybe it's less than an hour, depending on how tender, how quick everything becomes tender. Your veggies become tender, your meat is starting to shred. Go ahead and add your other veggies, and you're almost home free. So I'm gonna put the lid on it. Keep an eye on it, and be back with you guys in just a bit. Okay, it's been about an hour. I have constantly stirred it because I didn't want my meat to stick. So as you can see, it looks delicious. Now, a lot of people would add more potatoes and carrots, and this would be it. You see the roux is super thick. If it gets too thick, I'll sometimes add a little water, but I just want to give a little taste to see if I need any more salt or pepper. Ooh, that's so good. I don't need anything else. So the last step is we go in with our frozen veggies. We're gonna add some peas and the corn. It's just basic dumps right now. We stir these around. like so. Somebody must know that I'm cooking and they're calling. So, you know, these tomatoes were frozen. So that's really good because the extra water is what I need. And we're just gonna put those right in. All we wanna do now is let the veggies cook in, let it simmer. It's got bright color. And I know for some of you, this might not be a traditional beef stew. This is how my mama used to make it. So that's why hats off to Mama Neely for showing me how to make her beef stew. It's really her recipe. I kind of work with some of the spices and things. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring this back to a nice simmer, maybe another 30 minutes or so. As I told you, the veggies that I put in earlier, the potatoes and the carrots are good and soft. The meat is good and done. And so we're just gonna put the lid on it, let it come back to a simmer, and it'll be almost time for us to taste. All right, y'all, it's time to see what we're working with. Oh, yes, it smells delicious. So just give it a quick stir. Trying to shoot a video, trying to show people how to make beef stew. And Ariel is always in the background, y'all. So we are good to go. What we're gonna do is just plate us some. Oh yes. You got the chunks of meat, the tomatoes, and the carrots and the potatoes turned out just right. They are still kind of firm. And that looks like that's about enough. Pat Neely. Y'all, I have absolutely enjoyed making this dish with you guys. It's a Neely staple. If you like this or any of my other videos, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. By the way, you want to hit that notification so that you are aware when my next videos are coming out. I so appreciate you. We're gonna have great videos and recipes continuing to come out. I want to thank you guys so very much. Leave a comment. I was reading earlier today where someone made my turkey pot pie and said the only bad part about it was none left over for the next day. They ate it all. So I really appreciate those comments, and I comment right back. Until next time, guys, y'all enjoy Pat's beef stew. I got to give my beef stew just a little bit of taste. It's hot. Y'all, it's so good. And you taste all of the crunchiness from the corn and the carrots. Letting it take its time and cook. All of the spices have married right in there. It's just simply delicious. See you guys soon.